Welcome to Lost Culture, your one-stop destination for everything pop culture. My name is Aston, and today we're going to do a review and a recap for Empire Season 3, Episode 2, Sin That I'm In. Now, in this episode, we start off with Angela Yee and Jamal are actually having a little interview conversation about everything that's going on. We see the, who else was it? Tay Diggs actually in the scene with them. And we see they're talking about like gun violence and everything. And we see when they bring up the incident, Tay Diggs actually kind of suggests that Jamal has PTSD. Obviously, Jamal does not want to take that like diagnosis. He doesn't want to hear that he has PTSD. He doesn't want to feel like he has like a mental disease. Now, he gets invited to like an event to do, I think the event was called Woke. It's for like at-risk children of Chicago. And he actually voluntarily do it. We see he brings the kids to the Empire building. Lucius is happening walking around and he calls them so he can talk to the children. Lucius does it. And when he does it, he runs into that. He talks to Tay Diggs and everything. We see while everything is going on, he basically invites him to have his event at the Empire Club so that they could basically stream it on his streaming services. Like we know, like his streaming services actually needs content. He doesn't have really too much going on with it. We know his stock is down for Empire, so he's trying to find different ways to actually bring viewers to his service. So this was one way that he chose to do it. And we see that Cookie doesn't really like it because she doesn't really trust Tay Diggs at the moment. She keeps saying that it's because Lucius has the FBI and everything going on. They doesn't need a congressman inside their business at the same time. So I don't really think that's the reason. Like we see at the end of the episode, she starts flirting with him and everything. So maybe she did actually feel some type of attraction to him, but with everything with Lucius going on, she's just too closed off or whatever, or too angry to actually be willing to open up to another man, to be vulnerable again, to open herself up for what just happened with Lucius. We see Lucius just got married. We see he's still like on a daily basis hounding her. He's sending her gifts, sending her presents, doing like small things to remind her of the past, doing other things. It's just like a big mess that she's in right now. She doesn't know. She doesn't like. I feel like she doesn't know what her emotions are right now. Yes, she feels like she's done with Lucius, but obviously she still has this connection with him. She's bound to this man like for the rest of her life because of her children. They share a business together. So there's a lot of things going on that she feels like, I feel like she just has a lot on her plate and she doesn't really want to deal with another man in her life also. She has these 3 boys. She has her ex-husband and she has his wife she has to help too. So it's just a lot going on for her, and I feel like she doesn't want to be involved with another person. Now, besides that, we see, what's going on in the episode? We see Hakeem. Hakeem is back in the studio, he's vibing. This song sounds a lot better. Him and old girl are actually doing really well together. I love their chemistry. We see them working off each other. I feel like this relationship is going to get him in a lot of trouble. We see he's already been punched for looking at her the wrong way. And I feel like, because he was just at Sanaya's house like last episode. So we already know Sanaya doesn't really, she feel like she's being pushed out with old girl. And I don't know, I don't know how this is going to work. I feel like it's going to explode in his face again because he's already moving on to a relationship. He's basically walking into a new relationship. He just lost his fiance. He just had a daughter, and he was just at his ex-girl's house trying to get back with her. So he has a lot going on, which is in turn I think is going to be like a recipe for disaster, not only for him but for the label, because we know Sanaya does it, like she always feel under like mistreated or not treated well enough. So we know she's going to have an issue with this. We already seen her face when they were performing at the Empire little streaming event, and this is going to be like a crazy season for like Hakeem because he's still not even stepping up for his daughter. We see he's in the studio making music, he's flirting with old girl, and he's not even taking care of his child, which is crazy because I understand for Anika, it must be like extremely stressful. This is her first child, and then on top of that, her first child is a preemie, and then she doesn't have any type of support system. She has one crazy lady in the house, which is willing to kill her. It's basically is trying to run her out. She has the FBI trying to get to her. She has Lucius, who won't let strangers into the house. Like, he doesn't. Yes, he supports her like financially, but he's not really supporting her emotionally, mentally, and everything. So she's basically here like by herself, which is I guess extremely hard. Like no one wants to take care, or not no one wants to. Like it always like a saying like it takes a village to raise a child, which is true, and I think would be even more true for a preemie because a preemie needs much more attention than a regular baby. So we see like she's getting worn out to her peak. Like she's being worn out. Then we see that when the baby starts crying, Anika basically starts crying at the same time. So obviously she needs some help going on there. I know maybe the maid might help, but I haven't even seen her at all this episode. And we know Lucius has a full-time job. Hakeem's not really stepping up. He's never there. So Anika is really in this for the most part by herself throughout the day. Yes, Lucius comes at night and holds her down. We see when Anika was in the room and she found the teddy bear, Lucius was actually right there with her. So we see at least when Lucius is done with work, he's normally spending time with the baby. And even last episode, I said something about how much time he spends with the baby. So we know Lucius spends a good amount of time with the baby when he's available to do it. Now, back to Jamal. We see Jamal still suffering with the pain. When he's talking to when Jamal's talking to Andre, he's trying to figure out like what's going on. Cause we see Andre just in the apartment going crazy. Like boy is wilding. Like oh, maybe him and Jamal working together will help him get like stable again. Cause at least when he had Rhonda, like he said, Rhonda took care of all of his medicine. So Jamal basically needs someone to help him with his medicine and how to do his doses and everything. And I feel like once Jamal gets that chart ready for Andre might be able to do everything on his own. Like Andre will be able to use the chart to actually figure out how to do this, how to do that, and he'll be able to work on his medicine by his own. Maybe he might need a hand here and there, but he's not going to be as unstable as he is now. Like right now, he has no idea how to balance his medications. Which is sad, which is another reason why he shouldn't be by himself. Because we see, he actually hears Rhonda's voice again this episode. And he's asking her for help, he asking her to come back, but he doesn't really see her. And that's when like Jamal walks in, he's kind of afraid. And he sees that, his brother like is wilding out. So he talks to him, he tells him that he's also suffering with his medication. And he's coming up with a chart of his own. So right there, I'm glad he's showing like, these brothers are all sticking up for each other, which we've seen like time and time again that these brothers really do stick together and they're willing to help each other regardless of what's going on in their personal lives. So we see Jamal stepping up for Andre. He's kind of being the big brother to the big brother, just helping him, and understands that he's in a tough predicament right now. But Andre just lost his child. He lost his child, lost his wife, and now like. He also has a mental disease, so he just has a lot going on and everything. And I'm just glad that that we see these brothers sticking together trying to help each other. Now, with that being said, we see when Jamal actually goes to his event and everything, that Lucius actually puts him on the spot. Lucius is the first one to figure out that Jamal really can't sing at the moment. He has a mental block going on that will not allow him to step up in front of a crowd and actually perform. And I'm glad to see that even though Lucius has all these other things going on, that he's still able to look at his child and see something is going on with him. He might not be the best father, but he's able to see when something is bothering his children and what's going on. Maybe his way of going about it is extremely wrong. He did finally get Jamal to admit that something is wrong though, because at first Jamal was not admitting anything was even wrong. So even though his tactics of getting Jamal to admit something is wrong was kind of extreme, at the end it actually works. He gets results from the way he do it. I can't really say it was right or wrong because at the end of the day he did get he did get help for his child, but he might have embarrassed him also in front of all these people. And for that event, like it seemed the event is actually going pretty well. Like we see the mayor is talking to the children there. He gets a good response. He calls Lucius up there, and like I said, Lucius calls Jamal up there to perform, which Jamal kind of panics out of. And it still seemed like the event went well at the end because we see Lucius is talking to Tay Diggs, Tay is talking to Taraji, and everything is being worked out until like we see Cookie starts flirting with him, and we see Lucius actually falls back. He's like basically turns kind of like cold again because when he first met Lucius, we seen the mayor call him Mr. Lion. He's like, oh no, don't call me that, just call me Lucius. And now once he started flirting with Cookie, but Cookie was flirting with him, we see he pulls back and like, no, don't call me Lucius, call me Lion, Mr. Lion. So I'm glad to see the way he changes back and forth depending on the circumstances, especially when it comes to Cookie. Like he don't really like play those games, and it wasn't really like a malice way. I'm glad to see that he did it more like, oh, I'm gonna stand my ground. I can't have you around me since Cookie is starting to flirt with you or whatever. And the funny thing is, like earlier in the episode when she went off on him, we hear Jamal say, oh, only person I ever seen her go off on or get on her skin like that before is you. And that's when like the wheels start turning in Lucius' head, like damn, maybe she does like have some type of feelings for him or whatnot. And we see she's actually starting to willing to open up at the end of the episode when he's talking about, oh, he has young girls that she can come talk to, because she obviously probably stood up and talked to the children, but it was off camera. We didn't get to see her actually talk to the children. So with that going on, we got to see what else happened with this episode. We got to see Lucius is doing the most this episode. He's trying to get his girl back. He's extremely happy. Not happy, but he's sitting there gifts and everything. We see the big lion statue with the diamond eyes, the diamond bracelet. She brings that all back to his office, tells him to give it to Anika. He basically laughs it off because she really doesn't mean it. She's just being spiteful. Like she brought it back and being spiteful to him over the marriage. So, and she brings up the point, oh, I can borrow this myself. Not really the fact that you can afford it or not. It's just the fact that he was doing something that he felt like he wanted to do for you. So it wasn't really like he felt like she couldn't afford it or anything. It was more like he was just trying to do like little tokens of love. I'm sorry, I'm a little under the weather right now. Now, after that, we see later on in the episode, Cookie's at home. She wakes up, there's a bunch of people in her apartment, and we see Lucius actually got Biz Marquis to come perform. And we see he's performing the song that Lucius has always been, we see every time they do a flashback, we see Lucius, a young Lucius is singing Just a Friend. And now we finally find the story behind that. Like, basically, Cookie had a boyfriend, and he basically had his whole life planned out, which kind of pushed her away at the same time. We see he wanted to go to law school. He wanted her to go to Howard, then med school. Well, he wanted to go to med school. He wanted her to go to Howard. And once he got out of med school, he wanted to move to a certain spot, open up his practice, which is pretty cool. And we see she wasn't really ready for that. She wanted to go out and do music and explore. And we found out, like, Lucius had actually seen her before she had initially seen him for the first time. And like this flashback has a lot of different aspects to it because we see Lucius actually seen her when she like kind of got in the car with her boyfriend, and now she had plans to go to the icy shop. So Lucius make plans like to stay out in front of the icy shop for like, I think he said almost 3 hours, just performing the same song, hoping she'll walk out, which she actually did. And in that same scene, we find out Tariq was there also, and Tariq was like basically pulled out of the group by his mom because she didn't want him around Lucius. And we find out that Tariq is basically raised to hate Lucius, and his mom. We see when Tariq is pulled out of that group, Tariq's mom is like, oh, Lucius is not your friend. Yes, he might be your brother, but he's not your family. Him and his mom is the reason we're in the situation that we're in. So you should stay away from him. He's not a safe person to be around. Just stay away from him. And we see it flashes back to Tariq when the flashback is going on, and we see he's still watching Lucius and Anika. He's just sitting there eating Fruit Loops. I'm like, bruh, like he must have bad, like what is his real job? Like obviously he doesn't have a subpoena against Lucius or anything, or he wouldn't be doing this illegal. He doesn't have a warrant or anything to do the wire, or he wouldn't be doing it through like the teddy bear. So it's just crazy that he's going through these states, putting his job at risk. I don't think he's been going to work, and all this just for a case that just trying to take his brother down over something that happened years ago, like, between their mothers. So with that going on, we see he's watching the camera when Anika actually finds the camera. She was happened to have the baby monitor by the teddy bear and hears the interference. And when she hears the interference, basically, I'm glad Anika is smart enough to narrow down where the interference is coming from. So she finds it. We see she wakes Lucius up, and Lucius kind of like holds her from behind or whatever, like an intimate way. And he talks about buying a new teddy bear when he destroys this one. So now the question is, how is Tariq going to get a new wire within the house? Now, there was a couple other things that came up. We see with Becky, her and her boyfriend, basically, he's decided to go to a new label. He obviously heard a story about the feds. He doesn't want to be there when he got pulled down, which is a good point, because we've seen a lot of people get hurt with with feds invading music companies. Like when Murder Inc. went down, we seen Ja Rule's career got hurt. Well, Ja Rule's career was already damn near buried, but we seen Ja Rule go down. We seen Lloyd get messed up. We seen Ashanti get messed up. All those Murder Inc. artists that were really big at the time when the feds came in are basically null and void now. Like we see Lloyd trying to make a comeback. Ashanti, I mean, she cool on Instagram if you follow her Instagram. I don't think anybody listens to her music no more. Ja Rule, I don't even know what Ja Rule's doing right now. So, yeah, there's not really much that, being in a situation like that really does destroy your career. And we see he's trying to jump ship. He actually, in his deal, made had him put in a clause that Becky would come over and be, I don't know, it'd be his A&R or the head A&R for there, which is kind of strange for an artist to negotiate, but nevertheless, it happened. And we see Becky turns it down instantly because she knows when she had nothing and nobody would give her a chance, Lucius actually gave her a chance. And yeah, but can we mention this, man, when he called her Becky with the good hair? Please don't do that again. Please don't be playing with that girl's head. Do not play with that girl's head. Yeah, but regardless, now they're trying to find out if Becky's actually going to tell Lucius about it, because earlier in the episode we heard Lucius ask her about he was going back into the studio to record music, and Becky said oh, he's going to stay here, basically going off the fact that she's dating him. If she wasn't dating him, I don't think she would be too sure that he was staying, which turned out he wasn't staying. So only time will tell what's really going to go on with that situation. And with that, that was really it. We cut to a scene all the brothers are in the room talking to each other, trying to get advice from each other. We see them holding each other down and kind of come up with plans to work everything out, their personal issues. And I'm surprised that Hakeem didn't bring up the fact that he actually got hit for looking at old girl. He might have brought it up. It might have been off camera, but we see they brought up the fact about the baby and everything. They wanted they toasted to her. So this is going it's good to see these brothers are actually bonding, spending time together. Now after that, we see once Andre actually goes home, he gets racially profiled. We see he actually gets assaulted. He actually gets basically accused of breaking into the homes of everybody around. And I'm confused why. I'm pretty sure his neighbor knew he lived there. Cause we see she's the reason that they kind of like point the camera at her, making us presume that she's the one who called the cops on him, and basically let everyone know that he was a suspicious character in the neighborhood, which is strange because I'm pretty sure the people around that neighborhood knows who he is and that he lives in that home. I'm pretty sure he's been living there for a while, so it's not that serious. We see he's basically just unpacking his home. Well, not unpacking, but moving things out of his home. The cops basically harass him. He tells them his ideas in the car. So, what do you expect him to like? Yes, he might have got like a little smart, whatever, and they didn't like that. So, basically, but there was no reason for them like to straight up body slam. They just rushed him, body slammed him on the cement, pulled the gun out, and I don't even feel like he actually resisted arrest because he was like already pinned down and handcuffed. So what can he do once he's handcuffed? There was no reason for the gun to be out. Maybe the taser. I understand pulling the taser out. If he did get rallied, maybe hitting him with the tase. But there was no reason for the gun because you're just at that point you're just going for a lethal shot. Like you had to point at his head, and if he would have did anything, you basically go shoot him in the head, which really doesn't make sense. It was better off for you to pull the taser than the gun. So I don't know what it is. Like we see like a lot of episodes, a lot of TV shows this far actually going or like basically jumping on this like the gun violence, but like gun violence too, but jumping on the since like cops killing people is a hot topic right now. Like we see a lot of like TV shows that involve cops, whatever, are really going big about like cops shooting unarmed people, not necessarily innocent, but just unarmed suspects. And I'm glad to see that Empire. Well, I'm not really glad to see they jumped on the wave, but I'm glad to see that they're bringing it up. They're not only bringing up cops doing it, but they're bringing up civilians, bringing up with the gun violence also in Chicago. So that's really all we have for this episode. I mean, it's a pretty good episode. I must admit, like the music, Hakeem's music was actually really good. I actually enjoyed the music this episode. So I gotta give him like the Empire Move of the Week, where like he's making him and old girl was bonding, vibing in his soundtrack. We're talking about first they love you, then they hate you. That track I actually enjoyed. So I gotta give it to Hakeem this episode. And that's really it. Thank you guys for tuning in. Follow us on Instagram at Lost_Culture. Follow us on Twitter at Lost_Cult TV. And follow me on Instagram at Saint_Aston. And as always, if you like what we heard, leave a like. If you want to subscribe to the channel, push the subscribe button. And as always, stay lost. Recap for Power Season 3, Episode 9, I Call the Shots. So this starts off with Paperboy and Earn outside the club. It looks like Paperboy just